So what got you into it 3 years ago?
Oh man, you've probably heard this story a million times. From other people, but basically, I had done very well in my life. I felt like very successful. I've built a seven-figure business, sold multiple businesses, and I've been in special operations. I've done some pretty amazing hard things, and I feel like growth happens on the fringe. Growth happens when you're uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a lot of friends. I can count on one hand how many like close friends I have. I keep my circle very small. I keep my business, circle very small as well. So I was kind of comfortable, man. There wasn't a whole lot of unknown in my life. Everything was very controlled. And I just felt that kind of itchy feeling like I'm too comfortable. I'm not challenging myself. I need something personal for me to where I don't know it all. I need to go into something as the beginner again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And my brother-in-law does jiu-jitsu. He's like a lifetime wrestler and then started jiu-jitsu 6 years ago. And I've had a bunch of friends. I had a guy, a teammate of mine when I was in special operations. He's a brown belt, I believe. And so we would roll, and he's probably 50, 60 pounds lighter than me. And I couldn't get my hands on him.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't, you know the deal. Like,
It's the magic trick. Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell is going on, dude? Like I was worn out, and he's like, are you done yet? And he literally was not doing anything. And so it was intriguing to that part of it was very intriguing. So basically, once I hit this, I rent to this gym, and it's a beautiful story for me because I go to this gym at night. There's these guys training. I come in, I'm like, hey, what do I need? I would like to come in for, a class or whatever you want to call it. And he goes, yeah. Here's the class schedule. And I'm like, okay, I'm an early guy. So 5:45 in the morning. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'll show up. So I get up super early. I go drive this thing. I don't have anything. I have no gi. I don't have anything. I'm just showing up. And I'm sitting out in my truck, and I'm thinking, here I am. I think I was 37 at the time. Here I am, 37 years old, and I'm up at 5 a.m. to go essentially get my ass kicked. Walk into a room. I didn't know one single person there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like your first day of school, and you know that at 3:00 in the parking lot, you're getting your ass kicked.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing you can do about it. This is happening. You're the new kid in school. You got to deal with this. And so it was an interesting feeling sitting in my truck going, I am making the choice at 37 years old to walk in here and just get the shit kicked out of me, not knowing anything. And that's exactly what happened. The typical, and I walked in at 240. I was 240 pounds, 6 foot tall, 240 pounds. And, big weightlifter, that's all I cared about, how much weight I could move around,
Mm-hmm.
how fast I could move it. And then, the whole blue belt enforcer thing, they just smashed me for a complete hour. I mean, horribly. Like, I thought that they might have known me through social media and just did not like me.
Yeah.
So they wanted to take out their aggression on me physically. Come to find out, they had absolutely no idea who they were. That's just how they are, and it's still who they are to this day. They just can't pull those shenanigans anymore. But anyway, I did it. I showed up. It was horrible, and then I just kept going, and I absolutely loved it. And it was just one of those things that was like, now instead of being the CEO or being the dad or being the husband, I am now a beginner again at something. And that was super refreshing for me. I found something that I was like, I don't know shit about anything. What did Ruth say? I don't know shit about fuck. And and essentially, like, they gave me the opportunity to grow, and it's awesome, man.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think about that like a lot. Like there's this weird thing that I think a lot of us who have like done something, accomplished something in our lives that was really difficult to do, you kind of learn how to go against like your own like human nature a bit.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like with diet, we'll say as an example, like you might have all these like really delicious foods around you, but then you don't eat them because you know that they're going to make you fat, and you eat the stuff that you should eat, and you know, because you know that the payoff's going to be better in the long run. And then doing difficult stuff, like you said, you're getting up at, you know, in the morning, crack of dawn, whatever, and you're going to this gym to train, and you know that you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. You're like, well, what am I doing this for? But like, there's this implicit sort of like thing inside of you that understands, like, if I put myself into difficult stuff, good stuff typically comes from it, right?
Right.
And so I think that's interesting, because that's something that most people, like, it's something you have to, just like going back to the idea of running towards bullets, right? Well, we're not running towards bullets, but we're running towards difficult stuff. And I think it's something that you sort of condition yourself to do one way or the other, because we know that that's where like the good stuff happens, the growth happens, whether we're lifting weights and we're getting to that rep range where it starts to burn and starts to push it, or we're putting ourselves in some new endeavor. We're going like against our nature because our body doesn't really want to do it, but we do it anyway. And I think that's a cool thing that I see that a lot of people who've done some cool stuff in their life, it's something that they initially do in some place, and then they seek out other places where they can continue to do that.
I think that's an inherent trait of somebody that wants to grow, right? And growth is a choice, growth in a sport, growth in your knowledge, whatever it may be, but it's a choice that you have to make every single day. When you stop making that choice, you basically have peaked, and you've limited yourself of who you're going to be as a human being.
Mm-hmm.
And I just choose never to peak, ever.
Now, do you think that kind of thing, like that idea, that trait that you're talking about, do you think that's something that people just sort of, you got it or you don't, or do you think it's something you've learned through going through difficult stuff and popping out on the other side?
I 100% believe that it's something you learn going through difficult stuff, because once you get the reward of achievement of going through a challenge or doing something hard and then coming out the other side, it's apparently obvious the growth and success that comes from that, and how much more people always talk to me about, like, well, how do I mentally get tough? Mm-hmm. Well, you mentally get tough by doing hard things and getting through them. And then that's not hard anymore. And one of the